Chakvetadze, I'm our biggest fan. I follow around the country. Chakvetadze.
Giorgi Chakvetadze has been in outstanding form for Watford this season. In today's video, we'll break down his impact on the pitch and why he's becoming one of the most exciting talents in European football. Giorgi. I don't think I have enough praise for this player. And the reason I'm actually making this video today has actually been prompted by his performance against Oxford United just prior to the international break. And while he didn't score or assist in that game, I thought his individual performance on the pitch was exceptional, outstanding, magnificent. I don't have the words really to describe what I witnessed with my own eyes at Vicarage Road on Friday night under the lights. It really was special to watch, and I'm sure everyone in the stadium and watching from home on TV would agree with me. Now, there are lots of things about Giorgi's game that really impress me, but actually today I'm going to pick two things out that I think he can improve if he wants to earn himself a move to a top 4 European club. And I think that answers the question of the video and the thumbnail today, really. What's next for Giorgi Chakvetadze? And that's in reference to ultimately his future footballing career. Now, Giorgi has many years ahead of him. He's only 25 years old and arguably hasn't actually hit his peak yet as a professional footballer. At his past clubs, he's been plagued by injury and not really playing enough minutes that you'd want to for a player of his calibre. But now at Watford, after we took the risk on him with the initial loan signing, and now he's up to full fitness and on a permanent 5-year deal, I do think we are starting to finally see the best of what this player can offer. And I'm sure everyone can attest for his performances as well at Euro 2024 in the summer, where alongside Kvaratskhelia, he was one of the Georgian national team's best performers. So Giorgi is really, really special, and I'm sure Watford will see a big profit on his sale when he eventually does leave. In terms of the two aspects of his game that I believe he can improve, one of them, I think, for me, is shooting and scoring goals. I'd love Giorgi to score more goals than he has done already. It seems shocking for me to say, but actually in his year or so at the club, Giorgi has only managed to score just 2 goals. He got a goal when he first joined Watford in that first initial loan season. And then he's only scored 1 goal this season, which was the marvellous free kick away at Millwall on the opening day. And I think there's, for me, multiple reasons why he maybe doesn't score more goals. And I think Giorgi himself takes a lot of the burden in terms of Watford's final third play. How many times have we seen Giorgi wing back possession, do a body feint, drive past 4, 5, 6 players, and then ultimately you get that final third ball just wrong? I think for me, once people like Kwadwo Bar, Rocco Vata, Daniel Jebison, once them players start to develop and come through more at the club, I think more of the burden will be taken off Giorgi and more of the attention will be taken off Giorgi and put onto other players, because I think what's happening at the moment is that Giorgi is getting clearly swamped and targeted by opposition players, where sometimes there's 2, 3 or even 4 players crowding round Giorgi when he reaches that final third position for Watford. And at that point, really, it's quite hard to pick out a pass or get a shot away on goal. And as you can see by the shot map on your screen now, I would say actually looking at that, 2/3 of Giorgi's shots are probably from outside the penalty area. And it's a well-known fact in football and generally that ultimately you score most of your goals from within the penalty area. And I think a great book to read actually is the XG Philosophy, which explains all about goal scoring and expected goals really, really well. So if you haven't already, go and check that book out. But you can see there on them statistics there, at least from my point of view, 2/3 of his shots, 27 so far this season, have been taken from outside the penalty area. Now, of course, you have to take into account that Giorgi is Watford's set-piece taker. He takes a majority of our corners and he also takes a majority of our free kicks as well. And obviously, you can see the 1 goal scored there was in reference to his free kick against Millwall, which actually itself only had an expected goals ratio of 0.03, which is really, really low. So I think for me, over time, as Giorgi's game develops further and as other players at the club develop, I think we'll see Giorgi get more involved in them goal scoring positions, because at the moment what you've got is Giorgi trying to do all of the work with no reward really. If you look at his overall statistics and output, he's scored 1 goal and got 3 assists, which for a player who everyone says is the best in the Championship isn't a very, very good ratio. So I think that's one issue for me. I think the second issue in terms of Giorgi is actually releasing the ball quicker in them final third situations, because what Giorgi does, and I've noticed this quite often watching games at Vicarage Road, is he'll do all the hard work, driving 20, 30, 40 yards up the pitch. And then what he'll do is he'll slow down, he'll stop, he'll assess the situation. And then that gives the opposition defenders a chance to recover, get behind the ball. And at that point, kind of the chance to do that incisive pass has disappeared. And I think that's something Imran Louza does really well from a deeper position. Of course, Louza and Giorgi play very different roles in this Watford team, but Louza does have that ability to play that pass over the top. He has that ability to play that incisive pass into the box, where I think Giorgi sometimes stops, takes too long, and then the opportunity has disappeared. So if I was Tom Cleverley in the Watford coaching staff, I would urge Giorgi to shoot on sight when he gets into them positions. Don't hesitate, have the shot, because ultimately, as I always say, if you don't shoot, you don't score. And also, when he does drive forward with the ball, don't be afraid to lose the ball. Don't be afraid to play a pass. And actually, the pass isn't maybe as accurate as you would like. Maybe the pass doesn't reach its intended target. But when the pass does come off, maybe 1 out of 5 times, that could be the pass that ultimately secures Watford the 3 points in that game. So whilst I give Giorgi loads of praise for what he does to the Watford team, I do think we rely on him overly too much at times. And I think he can add more goals and assists to his game just by shooting on sight more, and actually just by playing passes quicker when he gets into them final third positions. So that is what I would say in regards to Giorgi's final third play. So what's next for Giorgi Chakvetadze? Now, I think we have to first start by talking about this season specifically, because clearly his goal and assist output isn't high enough. So for me, if Giorgi's watching, which he probably isn't, but if he was, I would set him a target of 15 combined goals and assists. So that could be a combination, for example, of 7 goals scored, 8 assists. It can be any combination of them, but I think that is a good target to attain. And I think Giorgi is more than capable of doing that. We've seen players before in the Championship achieve their numbers. Ruben Neves is a player who comes to mind, albeit he played a slightly deeper role. So yeah, Giorgi clearly needs to increase his goals and assists output. And if he does do that, then I think he can earn a move in the future at the end of this season to a top 4 European club, whether that's in England or elsewhere in Europe. I think Giorgi, like João and Asprilla, should be moving to a club competing and playing in European competition. And I think the ideal club for Giorgi to go to now would be Manchester United under Ruben Amorim. Now, whilst I'm not a Manchester United or Sporting expert, Ruben Amorim plays a really interesting system. Now, of course, in terms of the defensive aspects, it's quite similar to what we see at Watford with the 3 at the back and 2 very high wing backs. But what Amorim does well is he has 2 floating 10s behind the striker. So Rasmus Højlund, you would expect, would be the main starting striker under Amorim at Manchester United. But I think for Giorgi, maybe playing alongside someone like Amad Diallo or Mason Mount, he could play in one of them floating 10 positions. And I think for me, really, really thrive, because in the Premier League, I think it's very different to the Championship, where in our current division, you have a lot of teams who sit back in really, really low blocks, and you don't get a lot of space or time to pick out passes. Whereas in the Premier League, the game is much faster. Clearly, the ability is much higher, and I think Giorgi would thrive in that environment. So for me, the perfect club for Giorgi to go to currently, whilst they're not performing well on the pitch, would be Ruben Amorim at Manchester United. I think the 10 position in his team would work really, really well for Giorgi's attributes and qualities. So in terms of his future, that is where I would see him in my point of view. Thank you so much for watching this video. Something slightly different to what we would normally produce here on the Watford Way, but I hope you appreciated the effort we put into this via our research and the graphics we had on screen. If you want to, we've now launched channel memberships where for just 99p per month, you can get access to exclusive perks such as badges to be used in live streams, member-only videos, polls, behind-the-scenes content, and much more to be announced in the coming weeks and months. So make sure to get involved with that. I'll put the link in the description down below. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. Leave a like on the video, leave a comment down below on where you think Giorgi will move to next in his career, and we'll catch you again very soon. Bye-bye.